What's up, YouTube? It's your boy, the My Hero What Ifs, and welcome to a brand new What If. What if Deku had sunshine? This will be a part one of the What If, so I hope you enjoy. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and comment, and play my shit, please. We start our story with the birth of our protagonist Izuku Midoriya, as his mother was holding her baby boy after the grueling process of giving birth to him. She cried as she held his tiny body, as all she can think of is, can am I gonna crush his body? As she was just snapped through from her trance by Izuku holding her finger with his small hand, as she sighed of relief. Then she brought the baby Izuku near her face as she whispered a prayer for him to be blessed by the angels and protected by them, as she planted a warm kiss on his forehead. After that, Izuku was taken to the nursery wing as he was put with the other babies and put to rest. Meanwhile, in the skies, an angel heard Inko's prayers and was watching and waiting till he can come in and lay the blessing. He waited and waited till everything calmed down. Then he started descending from the heavens, as he was now next to our hero, looking at him as Izuku opened his eyes and looked at the angelic being with eyes full of hope, wonder, and beauty. As the angel picked him up, Izuku kept on looking, and he gently touched the angel's face, gripping at his cheek, as the angel was surprised by this move from the baby and gave a warm smile to him. The angel spoke as he said and prayed for him, and laid his own blessing and gifted him with his own grace that was given to him by his supreme deity. As he said, "Now you will be the light that shines through the darkness, and the light enlightens the path of everyone." As he put the baby again on his crib, as he put him in his crib and gave a warm smile to the baby, and he got himself out of the building and flew back to the heavens he came from. 4 years later, Izuku grew up to be a bright boy with a smile so warm it would put the sun to shame. And now everyone around him is developing a quirk, and the one that stood above everyone else was Katsuki, as we know, with his explosions quirk. But Deku didn't awaken his yet. He was still hopeful about it, but not yet, till the fateful day where Izuku jumped to help a helpless kid that was battling against Bakugo and his cronies and lackeys. But to our knowledge, Deku did not succeed, as he was beaten and put down on the ground as the bullies and Bakugo stood tall in front of Deku. Instead, in front of Deku, as Bakugo and his cronies started gloating about their victory, till they suddenly realized that Deku was standing again, but this time he's given off this weird aura. Something changed about him as Bakugo started mouthing off and was preparing to attack Izuku until everybody in the vicinity started noticing the unbearable heat barreling down on them as they looked at Deku, as Deku's body started changing and morphing into something gruesome. No 4 years old kid they thought should look like him, as we all know, the power of sunshine comes from the sun. As we look up, we see the sun standing tall above Deku. As they were panicking and looking at Izuku's body changing and warping, and his aura explosively giving off this unmeasurable heat, it would put even Endeavor's hell flame to shame. So it kept on going like that, and Bakugo and his cronies straight up ran from the situation. They did not have anything to do with it. The others came as the teacher was looking in horror, as all she can see is the vapor, as every droplet of water in the vicinity was bubbling. It started to vaporize as they started running away from the situation. And by a couple of hours, the whole neighborhood was evacuated as the heat was engulfing all the neighborhood as everybody got out with first degree and second degree burns. Those who were closest to him got with degree burns as they felt the heat. They started running away. The ones at the end of the neighborhood got only first degree heat burns as they ran away. Law enforcement and the fire department were called to the scene, but they couldn't do anything as they doused Izuku with water. Nothing. As they tried to calm him. Nothing. Until one hero was called to the situation. The hero that can nullify all quirks. But they have one chance and one chance alone. They called on upon Shota Aizawa, as Aizawa was informed by the enforcement about the situation that is happening and that is an unmeasurable heat. They have one and one only chance to do this. So they gave Shota Aizawa a heat resistant bodysuit as he put it on, and a couple of others, law enforcement and other paramedics were put in the same kind of outfit as they walked through the city. The heat was eating at them, but they needed to continue walking. As they reached at Izuku's destination, as Aizawa opened his crimson head as he shot a glare towards Deku, as Deku's body reverted back to normal as he fell to his back. Then the paramedics rushed to Deku's side as they put a quirk nullifier around his neck so his power wouldn't act up again. As they started checking on him, as one of the paramedics said, his body temperature is all right. He doesn't seem to have any burns on him. He doesn't seem to have any injury, so his body can withstand the heat it's producing. As Shota Aizawa looked at him, that is one hell of a quirk. I wonder what it can do. As Deku was taken from the situation and put under custody by the police, as he was taken to the hospital, as his mother was called crying as she came to see her baby boy. As Izuku was awake by this point and he was allowed to see his mother, as he went around her and he hugged her, and she said, as she checked on his health and checked on everything, and to her surprise nothing happened to her kid. As the doctor came out with the result, as he sat down in Komidoria in Izuku, as Izuku was all jittery and afraid, as he said, I have two news, good news and bad news. As Inko was shocked and afraid to hear the answers, as she said, give me the good news first. As he looked at Izuku, Izuku was waiting for it. He said, congratulations, young man, you developed your quirk. As Izuku's eyes exploded with happiness as he plastered this huge goofy smile on his face, as he looked at his mother and he was holding her hand, jumping up and down as he said, Mom, I can be a hero, just as All Might is. As his mother patted his head and given him a smile of reassurance, as she looked at the doctor, and now give me the bad news. He looked at her with a serious eyes as he looked at her. We need to find a solution for your son's quirk. His quirk is so dangerous. We noticed that his quirk is gaining power more and more hour by hour, second by second, each time the sun rises up. So she said his power is derived from the sun. Exactly, ma'am, as the doctor responded. And this power will make him go through so much changes. As we noticed, his power makes him emanate this unbearable heat that nobody can withstand. I would say it would put the second top hero endeavor, Hell Flames, into shame because what your son did actually almost burned a whole neighborhood down. As she looked at Izuku, and she was informed by the law enforcement, by the way, and Izuku was still thinking about he can be a hero. He's still at 4 years old after all. And he, as the doctor said, and we noticed something else. His body changes and morphs every time he gains more power. He grows in stature, he becomes more bulky, and his demeanor totally changes. His demeanor, she said, yes, we still haven't got the full extent of his power, but we know what he can do and what he will be. So we still need more tests. So I would recommend you to come to this hospital on regular basis to check up on him and his powers. As he handed Inko and Izuku a bracelet, as he said, "Give me your hand, young man." As Izuku gave it to him, as he put the bracelet in, he said, "Don't ever take this thing off. It regulates your powers and it helps you control it." As Izuku said, "Why is that? We can't risk you being without this helpful tool. What if you lose control of your power just as of today? You know, as you grow, your quirk grows with you, it becomes more powerful. Maybe it will cause a huge disaster, so you need to be careful. You can be the number one if you want to go after that dream, but we need to be careful, kid." As Izuku gave the doctor a smile and he looked at him. Okay, as this bracelet had the nullification quirks ability, but nullification quirk, the same as the nullification quirk necklace, but this can be regulated. As deku, it does not nullify it 100%. You can choose a percentage from 0 to 100 as how much of your quirk you're allowed to use. At this moment, deku is only able to use 0%, which is he can't use it. So after more and more and more years, he will be able to discharge a bit more of his quirk under supervision by the cops and everyone, by the doctors, to his recommendation. As Deku went home, happy that he developed a quirk and he was ready to tell everybody around him about his amazing flashy quirk called Sunshine. As he went and his mother, the crying scene from the normal anime did not happen, as Deku was sitting down in his bed and he was jittery, happy, all, and then he fell asleep. The next day, Deku went to school, to kindergarten as usual, and everybody clapped to him about his amazing, fantastic, super powerful quirk that put even Bakugo's explosions quirk to shame. As Bakugo's self-esteem plummeted down as he became a bit more normal, because now he's not the special fruit on the tree. So Bakugo found himself feeling betrayed by everyone. So he started insulting Deku, saying that even with a super powerful quirk like yours, you can't ever control it. What a loser, as he made fun of Deku. But Deku made it his life mission to master his power and become the number one hero, the symbol of peace, Izuku Midoriya. As Deku's years went on, as we jump 8 years in the future, Deku, at the age of 12, he grown up so much and he trained his quirk so much that he is able to discharge 10% of his powers. He is known as the incident boy because everybody around the country heard about this super powerful kid. Quirk so amazing as that. So Deku's school life improved so much because his classmates have respect to him, his teachers have respect to him because he's not from the minority that in the normal anime. So Deku continued living his normal life. His only thinking was that he will be as good as All Might or even better, that he will exceed in school life, that he will become a pro, that he will train his quirk, and that he will be what he set up to be. And this gave Deku's in this normal what if it gave him a personality boost, a self-esteem boost, but he's not cocky unless he is in on the with unless he's using his quirk, because that's a perk of his quirk. So unless that, he's not cocky at all. He's down to earth, he's easy to talk to, but he still has a frenemy relationship with Bakugo, because each time you look at them, you find them at each other's throat, fighting to prove who is the most powerful. At this point, at the first, Deku was losing, but now at the age of 10, Deku started ranking up more wins against Bakugo, which gained the respect of Bakugo, yet he still hates him because he took all his glory and stuff from him. As on the faithful, as the years continued, now they are at 14, and Deku developed 5 more percentages of his powers. Now he can use 15% of sunshine, which is crazy. Believe me, it is insane at this point. His destructive power in the heat he emanates. Yet he learned one thing, to suppress the heat coming from his body. Unless he is fighting, now he can put his wristband on 15%, but people won't feel the heat because Deku would be repressing it inside of him. If he wanted, yet he developed one attack. He can release the heat to act on as an AoE attack, if you know AoE. So in a radius of 10 meters or so, the heat will be unbearable to stand in. Yet his power continues growing from second to second. So if I want to explain the bracelet, if you put it on 100%, it will allow everything to go. But now, like his power climbing, so he's at 100%, and the watch or the bracelet, if you whatever you want to call it, if it's on 100%, his normal growth in power will be exponential. But if he have it on 15%, it will be around 75% slower. So his power grows 75% slower than the normal speed it goes through. So Deku's now, his peak is almost as Bakugo. So he starts weak from the beginning of the day, but at the middle of the day, he is as much powerful as Bakugo. So his powers are a bit fluctuating. So we'll continue about the story, but as I said, Deku can restore his strength. So don't go thinking because he's not using his strength, it was going to waste. His strength, his power is being stored inside of him as well. So we continue our story. Deku now is at the age of 14. We all know that the teacher came into class and told them that what you want to be, what you want to do in your life, and then he threw the paper and told them that I know what you want to be, what you all want to be. I want to be heroes. So he started pointing at everybody's high school dream until he mentioned UA. As the class grew more silent and silent, as all they looked at the teacher at this, as he said, we have 2 candidates here who wants to go to UA. As everybody was in shock, putting a huge fuss over it, as Bakugo stood on the table and said everyone, and he started roasting them and calling them D-listers and D-lister sidekicks, and he was talking his crap as always, until the teacher said Izuku Midoriya. As everybody looked at Izuku, and Izuku looked at them, as they said, we know he can do it. With his crazy strength and stuff, I'm pretty sure he can do it. As everybody was cheering on them, and Bakugo said, damn nerd, do you want to go to UA? As Izuku responded, yeah, you got a problem with that? As Izuku and Bakugo were head and butts were at each other's face until the teacher calmed the situation down and told them to sit down. As the day went on, as in the normal anime, Deku did not get bullied at this one because they're afraid of him. As the day went by, Deku went home. He did not meet any villains, he did not meet All Might, he did not do any of that stuff. So he went to his home, he talked to his mother, she talked to him, she made him, prepared him food. They had the normal, usual family sit down. As he went to his room and saw the calendar and saw the deadline for the entrance exam of UA, as he marked October as the, I think it was October, right? Yeah, it was October, I think. And he still had 10 months of training to go there and prove himself in front of the heroes, in front of everybody, to get accepted into the most prestigious high school in the country. We fly over the 10 months of training because Deku, all he can do is release as much power. He trains it, he lets it, he gathers it, and he meditates to get his mentality on the right stage. He trains his strength, he trains his body because he needs to learn how to use his physical strength because it peaks as well. So yeah, and we go through the 10 months of training as usual. Deku cleaning up the beach and doing a bit of extra stuff. So we go into the day of the entrance exam. Deku went into UA High, walking around as he was admiring the buildings, admiring the school, until he hit his leg on an unplaced as he tripped and was falling down to the ground as a girl tapped his shoulder and she apologized for using her quirk on him as Deku was grabbed and put in a position as he looked at her and said thank you for that as she released her quirk on him as she said you're pretty nervous. I would say I am the same as you as he said so you noticed, huh? And she said, yeah, who wouldn't? We are going to take the entrance exam for the most prestigious school after all. As they hit it off and started talking, as the bells started ringing, as Deku and Uraka looked at each other and everyone went their own separate ways because they will be having the written exam, everyone in the different classes. As Deku went on about and went to his class, he put down his pencils and he was waiting. As the teacher said, go, as everybody started to find the solutions for the problems, as Deku was flying through the problems, busting everything and finishing at record time as he handed the papers as he went to the auditorium to hear President Mike lecture about the physical exam, or more like it. As he sat down, and everyone sat down as well, President Mike came and presented himself, and he started talking about the 1 pointer, 2 pointer, 3 pointer, as he was interrupted by Ida, as in the normal anime, and Ida being uptight with a chopping motion in front of him, and he started saying, I didn't expect this prestigious school to be such a bad one. You didn't even mention this one robot, as Prison Mike was pretty agitated by the snarky kid's remark as he looked at him. I was about to go into that. If you see that huge robot just escape, it's the 0 pointer. As everyone looked at President Mike and they went and President Mike said, now follow your registered teacher to your own testing grounds. As everyone went with their own teacher, they were presented teachers and they were given papers. Each one had a letter and they needed to go to the same letter above the teacher. So Deku was under the watchful eye of President Mike as he went to his testing grounds, as he was looking around and he was preparing himself. As he looked at the sun above him, it was shining around, I would say it was around 10:30 or 11 in the morning, so his power is pretty much peaking at this point. As he looked at everyone and everyone looked at him because he looked like he was out of it, so everyone started laughing and thinking that he will be an easy thing. As President Mike opened the door, as Izuku was the first to bust through it, and Ida started saying, what the hell, he's cheating, he should be, and he was talking his stuff. As President Mike said, in exam in fighting villains, you don't have a go. As everybody started chasing after Deku. Deku has his bracelet on 20%, releasing his strength. As his body morphed and grew more taller, as the teacher started noticing the kid running through the streets, as his body started growing more and more. Now he was, I would say, 20% taller than he first started. He's pretty much muscular as shit, and he is going through the points. He was piling up point after point, and his speed was amazing. His strength was wow, as he was going through them fist, only using his fist. He's not even discharging the heat from himself, as he was going through them, going, destroying everything around him, as he was wrecking point after point until the other contestants came and saw the massacre that was happening to the robots. And Uraka spotted the kid that she helped earlier. He was so much different, taller, more muscular, and he's having this narcissistic, prideful look to himself as he said, "Everybody here is late," as he jumped, as he reached a building, as he dug his hand on the side of the building, as he climbed the top to do some reconnaissance, as he saw a bunch of robots running around in the different direction, as he jumped from the building, engulfing his hand in a bit of a flame, as he punched the ground, sending the robots destroyed, as the other students are doing the same, gathering points from here and there. But Deku is putting such a show that Principal Nezu only had praise for him, and he was looking at him. So the time flies by as the exam was coming to an end, until we hear rumbling, as we see some students running around, as Deku scoffed at them and said, "Running around," as he was revolted by the scene of the kids running around, until he heard a scream for help, as he looked at Uraka being trapped under rubble, as he went running towards her and lifted the rubble with only one hand, flipping it away from her. And he looked at her. "I advise you to run from here. I'll be taking him on." As Uraka looked at him, "What do you mean you're gonna take him out?" I advise you to evacuate this area. You won't be able to bear the heat I'm about to release. As she only plodded in. She was helped by the other students to reach the exit gate, as everybody was escaping. The teachers from the balcony, where from the monitoring side, they were looking in, how do I say it, in interest. He piqued their interest, as Deku looked at his hour, and he put it at the top of. He put it at 22%. This was his maximum output he can release. As he looked at the robot and gave it a smile. "So you're the one that they said you can defeat, huh? Who said that?" As he started walking around, his body grew more, as the heat started melting the ground next to him, as the teacher started noticing that the ground started becoming charcoaled. Everything, the glass on the walls started melting, as the robot's feet and legs made of steel was boiling, as he walked next to the robot and he lifted his finger, as the heat was gathering atop, as a huge, not a huge, a relatively medium ball, I would say, of heat gathered up from it. As he looked and said, "Perish with everything." As he threw the ball at the robot, as it exploded in a pillar of flame shooting up to the skies, as everybody was looking, as Deku said, "Cruel son," as everybody from everywhere could see it, even different grounds, they were seeing it, as Bakugo scoffed under his breath, "God damn it, that nerd," as the teachers were amazed at the pure display of raw strength this kid was showing. As Deku started walking back to the other contestants as they were looking, and they felt the heat from him, even though they are at the far side, they started feeling the heat coming from the middle of the city as Deku was walking toward him, but at the last moment he lowered his wristband. The power to 0% as his body started contorting and changing back to its normal height and his normal stature. As he said, "Whew, that was pretty dangerous," as he wiped his forehead and continued walking down till he reached the end of the exam in the end of the training ground. As he went up and checked on Uraraka, and he said, "I'm sorry if I talked a bit differently from earlier. It's kind of a part of my quirk. I become overly confident. I become like a totally different person," as he was rubbing his head trying to explain it. As all she can do is look at him with a puzzled face. As Deku looked at her, "So I hope you'll be getting in to you, eh?" She said, as she was pulled back, and she said, "Oh yeah, I hope the same for you." As Deku went home, and I'll be finishing this part here. If you want a second part of this what if, you know what to do. Drop a like, drop a comment, and drop a subscriber, because we're 3 subscribers away from 1K, baby boy. So let's get it. And I want to say thank you all for tuning in with every video I put on, even trashy what ifs. I'm truly honored. It is a bless to be able to entertain so many people, and giving them a bit of a smile, a bit of something to watch, a bit of entertainment. So this is a great pleasure for me, and I hope I will provide you of the content you deserve. I will work my ass off to buy a PC. I mean, work my ass off day in and day night and night to grab a PC so I can evolve with editing. I know how to edit on my old PC, but all I can do is with the phone, and with the phone, it's a grueling experience that will take too much space. So I'm sorry I can't put on the same level of content other what if channels are putting off. So I hope you enjoy, and I hope you like. Thank y'all for 1K subscribers, and I'll see y'all in the next part of whatever what if. Drop down in the comments, and I'll see you guys on the next time. Peace.